Are you thinking about a move to San Diego? Today we are going to get into the pros, the cons of Rancho Santa Fe, California. Let's get into it right now. Hello, I'm Cassidy Lewis.
And I'm Chris Erickson.
And we are both realtors here in North County, San Diego. And this is where you come for all things North County. We are dropping new videos every single week, neighborhoods, things to do, places to go, and everything in between. So if this is your first time here, definitely hit that subscribe button down below. Because like I said, we're dropping new videos every week. And if you're thinking about a move out to San Diego, definitely get in touch with us. Call us, text us, email. We love helping people to move to North County, San Diego.
So today we're hopping in the pros and the cons of living in Rancho Santa Fe, located right in the middle of San Diego. It's one of the more exclusive neighborhoods here in North County, San Diego, one of the more expensive neighborhoods here in North County, San Diego. It's kind of a small footprint, but we're gonna get into the pros and cons and everything in between about living in Rancho Santa Fe right now. So hopping right in, one of the main benefits of living in Rancho Santa Fe is the privacy. That's kind of like one of the biggest things people look for when they're moving there, because you got a few things. You got these large plots of land, you have acreages, like the average kind of plot is about 2 acres or so. So you do get privacy between your neighbors. There's also no like main roads except for the main one going through town, which turns into Del Dios Highway. Other than that, it's all little side roads. So there's not ever like a ton of traffic cruising through there. There's no freeways or, you know, big throughways or anything like that. So it's super private back there. You get a lot of room to roam and you kind of get to keep yourself back there.
The next pro about living in Rancho Santa Fe is that it is definitely an equestrian area. So if you're into horses, if you're into having some property where you have your own horses and barns and stables and things like that, it is a great community for that. There's a whole ton of horse trails that go throughout Rancho Santa Fe. And like Chris mentioned, the fact that there's a lot of land, a lot of these properties, gives you that space to be able to have horse property.
And real quick, back to the privacy. So there's a few different sections of Rancho Santa Fe. There's like the Covenant section, which is a big area kind of in the middle, spreading out from the downtown area, but then sprinkled out throughout the rest of the zip code 92067 is a bunch of different gated communities. So all those obviously are private. Some have like 24-hour security gates at the front. And then also with the privacy and large properties, like we said, kind of 2+ acres or so, there's a ton of room for your horses and barns and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of properties do have the pools. There's room for guest houses. A lot of these properties too, they have orchards and stuff. So there's kind of like a big agricultural center and city and town kind of through the years. And some of that still is active citrus trees. And then one of the cons that kind of goes along with a lot of these large properties and some of the ones with orchards, you have like the irrigation and all that kind of stuff. But maintenance, so pool maintenance, landscape maintenance, just a lot to take care of. The houses are all bigger, you know, like a lot of bigger houses, 5,000 square foot plus.
One of the big draws, and definitely a pro of Rancho Santa Fe, is country club living. There are a couple of really exclusive private golf courses out in Rancho Santa Fe, and kind of on the outskirts too. You've got a couple other membership only golf communities on the outskirts of Rancho Santa Fe too, but there are some great golf courses in that community. And also tennis. There's, you know, as part of the country club, there's also tennis clubs and things like that too. So if golf or tennis memberships are something you're interested in, this is a good spot for that too. One of the other pros about looking for homes in Rancho Santa Fe, even though it is one of the more expensive communities in North County, there's some definitely added value for homes in that area. So if you're comparing price points in Rancho Santa Fe versus price points, say Leucadia or Old Encinitas or Cardiff, you get a lot more house, a lot more land out in Rancho Santa Fe at the same price points.
Now hopping into some of the cons about looking for homes out in Rancho Santa Fe. One of the biggest cons, he was saying value. So if you are comparing some of the coastal cities, you know, Leucadia, coastal Encinitas, Cardiff, you're gonna get a little more value out in Rancho Santa Fe. However, the price points are not inexpensive. The median price right now is well over $3 million and it goes on up from there. It goes, you know, there's some very expensive properties out there. But with those price points, there are a lot of custom homes, a lot of killer properties, like big estates. You got some areas with views and stuff. So there's some really cool spots out in Rancho Santa Fe.
And piggybacking on what Chris just talked about too, prices being high in Rancho Santa Fe, you also find that a lot of the finishes, A lot of the types of specialty rooms or garages are definitely that luxury feel. So a lot of houses out there will have a movie theater. They'll have large garages for 6 or 7 cars. There'll be spots where there's finishes you've never seen because they've brought it in from all parts of the world. There's just very cool houses with definitely some character that you don't see in a lot of other places here in North County. And like Chris mentioned earlier, with those larger properties definitely brings more maintenance, either house maintenance, yard maintenance, orchard if you've got it, pools, all of that is just something to think about when you're moving out to an area like Rancho Santa Fe. You're just gonna have a lot of added expenses that you might not have in more of a coastal area with smaller properties.
And one other thing that we kind of say as a con, we said in past videos, is Rancho Santa Fe is probably one of the most boring places here in North County, San Diego. And that's what a lot of people like, you know, just it's quiet. There's not a ton of infrastructure. Like we said, there's not a ton of main roads. The main like shops and restaurants and that kind of stuff is like right in the village area center. Other than that, you're traveling out of Rancho Santa Fe for, you know, probably your big shopping, your big box stores, all that kind of stuff. There's none of that within Rancho Santa Fe. So it's super quiet back there.
But with that boringness, with larger properties, obviously you have the opportunity to make your spot really entertaining and not boring. You know, have a ton of room for like outdoor parties and things like that. So even though there's not much like in the way of nightlife or things to do in Rancho Santa Fe specifically, you can make your property super cool.
And then being out there also, it's just not a super convenient area to live. Like I said, if you're going shopping or, you know, like big shopping or anything like that, or you're heading to different, you know, there's probably only a handful of restaurants right in that downtown, the village area right there of Rancho Santa Fe. But you can shoot down to Del Mar, you can shoot to kind of Encinitas, you can shoot up to Carlsbad, or any of those little downtown areas that have a ton more restaurant shops, all that kind of stuff, if you want a little more variety and places to kind of check out.
One of the other cons is there is an architectural committee for the Covenant area of Rancho Santa Fe. And what that means is there's a committee that approves if you're doing any remodels, if you're building new construction. They have a say in what you can build. And a lot of that is to kind of keep that same feel. You'll see that there's a lot of Spanish, there's a lot of Mediterranean feel homes out in Rancho Santa Fe, and a lot of that is because of that architectural committee.
And within the Covenant area, it is part of the HOA out there, which they take care of a lot of the common area and you know the trees around the roads and stuff. But it is about 14 cents per $1,000 of your purchase price. So the higher purchase price, the more you're going to pay within that HOA. But there's also security. So if you're going on vacation or something like that, you can let them know. They'll kind of do laps around your house.
Another very random con that not very many people would think about is in most of Rancho Santa Fe, especially in the Covenant, you don't have your own mailbox. And you don't even have a box down the street. The mail does not get delivered out in Rancho Santa Fe. It gets delivered to a P.O. box, and then there's a great service in Encinitas that actually drives your mail from your P.O. box to your house. So no mail directly to your house in Rancho Santa Fe.
Last but not least, the final con with a lot of areas in San Diego, but specifically Rancho Santa Fe, is there's a fire risk out there because there's a ton of shrubbery and trees, and it's kind of like a lot of fuel out there. There has been fires that have gone there in the past. It doesn't happen all the time, but it is something to kind of be aware of. They do have defensible space around houses and kind of requirements for that, but there is a lot of room out there in Rancho Santa Fe.
So those are some of the pros and some of the cons of living in Rancho Santa Fe. I definitely think that one of the biggest pros is how exclusive the properties are, that you can do pretty much anything you want with some of these properties, and some of these houses are already pretty spectacular. I've been in houses out there with full-on home movie theaters, underground garages with elevators to get your cars up and down. There's some really incredible properties out in Rancho Santa Fe.
So if you're thinking about moving out this way to North County, specifically maybe Rancho Santa Fe, hit us up, call, text, email, whatever's easiest for you. We got your back when moving here to North County, San Diego. And if it's not Rancho Santa Fe, maybe it's some of the surrounding areas. There's a live and hang out there. It's kind of like Rancho Santa Fe Junior, Elfin Forest. There's a bunch of cool little areas that might work as well. Even a little bit further east, there's Santa Luz and a bunch of spots around North County, San Diego that might work for you. So be sure to reach out.